Hello and welcome to A Fan Reads Bantha Track. I am reading Bantha Tracks issue number 29, summer 1985. And this is about the Ewoks and Droids TV series. Very cool. I'm excited about this. More Star Wars. Anything that has to do with Star Wars is the best thing, right? Let's get started. Executive producer Mickey Hernon talks about TV and raising the standards. Bantha Tracks visited the offices of Lucasfilm executive producer Mickey Herman recently to screen a just completed rough cut of a new Ewoks episode. Ewoks is one of two new television series slated for early Saturday morning. The second series in the ABC TV 1 hour time block is Droids, The Adventures of R2-D2 and C-3PO. A rough cut is not quite what it sounds like. It wasn't rough at all. In fact, its roughness comes from it not yet having the music and sound effects tracks laid into the soundtrack, and from the absence of the opening title sequence. In all other respects, the episode was complete. Our expectations were as high as our hopes for the screening, and both were met. The episode we watched opened with a night sequence. Wicket and his friends were seen bathed in the glow of firefolk light under a star-filled sky. It surpassed the stuff of most Saturday morning animation. As we later found it, this was a primary goal of the animated series. The backgrounds have a handcrafted look that isn't present in much contemporary animation, and the characters' movements seemed more fluid with higher fidelity of motion. We found out why. More cells, better animation. After the videotape had ended, we asked Mickey Herman to talk about the two new TV series. How did you become the executive producer for Droids and Ewoks? George offered me the job. I've always loved cartoons and thought it was a great break for me to finally produce, so of course I said yes. When you started work on Ewoks and Droids, you must have watched a lot of Saturday morning cartoon shows to get a feel for things. Yes, but I lost interest in them very quickly. I didn't find that other shows are a measure of what we were aiming to achieve. You see, George Lucas wants to raise the standards of Saturday morning programming for children. His main complaint with most of the current programming is the acting. Everybody sounds alike, whether it's a crisis or a happy event, and all the same voices are used over and over again. Good acting can even save a cartoon that doesn't have really sophisticated animation. Some of George's favorite shows were pretty limited in their animation, but the writing, performances, and characters were great. We're going for both better animation and better acting and character work. We also want to put real feelings into the show. Happy feelings. Some sadness, comedy, humor. The shows will be funny. Comedy is very important to us. Before we delve into that, would you explain how the animation will be upgraded for the show? After I watched some of the animation on television, I studied classical animation, both commercial and non-commercial, from around the world. Classical animation and mostly the cartoons we grew up with. The shorts, the stuff that's 30 or 40 years old, is still great. There's a whole new generation that see them every year. They hold up. They're still funny. They're still compelling. The bottom line is that animation is a manufacturing process. Much of what you see on television now has 8 or 9,000 cells, 8 or 9,000 separate drawings to make a half-hour's animation. What you just saw, what people will see at home on Droids and Ewoks, will be about 20,000 cells per show. We want a richer show, and the more cells, the finer and richer the animation. More in the classical tradition of animation. Who will be doing the animation? We decided to go with Canadian company Nelvana Limited. There is a big emphasis on animation in Canada with the Canadian Film Board and Sheraton College in Toronto. It trains very fine animators, and many of them go right from school into Nelvana. Their animators go to work all over the world. Some of the work, the in-between shots, inking, and painting, will be done in the Orient, but it will be animated in the American system. That is, under one roof with direction coming from one place. From the cells we've seen, it seems as though the two shows have completely different styles. It's intentional. They are very different in how they look. Droids is high-tech, heavy metal with hard edges. Ewoks, on the other hand, is soft, warm, romantic, organic fantasy. One show is about community life in the forest of Endor. Another is about two friends, R2-D2 and C-3PO, and their various masters on different worlds. Will the stories you tell with the new shows move into the realm of the first 3 Star Wars movies? Is there some sort of historical perspective with the existing Star Wars saga? It is the same universe as Star Wars, but this is an attempt to spin off to create new characters. We want to take the droids, who are very funny characters, and throw them into new situations with new masters. With Ewoks, we'll explore the whole moon of Endor and all the creatures that live on it, new characters, new villains, comedic villains. We want to create new entertainment with humor and real excitement, the kind of entertainment that people expect from Lucasfilm. There's a whole new generation of kids who have never seen Star Wars. Eventually, they will re-release or on home video, and there will be something familiar to them about these films. Let's talk about the stories themselves. There are big differences between the two series in that department as well, aren't there? A lot of things. Goals are the same, but the formats are different. In Droids, each story is set up in 4 episodes, and in those 4-part stories, we meet C-3PO and R2-D2's new owner and have adventures in a 4-part epic. Each of the episodes has to be a complete whole entity without it being a cliffhanger, and yet the 4 of them together tell one big story. Ewoks will tell one story each week without episodic treatment, although there are elements that link certain episodes together. The writers, directors, and producers, all of us, got together and hammered out story ideas, and Pete Souter, a Nelvana writer, wrote the first 8 scripts. Sound effects designer Ben Burt, who is very familiar with the Star Wars universe and is a very talented guy, came up with the 3rd story, the Mungo Baobab story. And he wrote a special, The Great Heat, which will be telecast in December. To date, Ewok stories have been written by Bob Caro, who wrote the Ewok Adventure last year, and Paul Dini, who is a great storyman who had done Saturday morning television in Los Angeles. The coincidence is that, unbeknownst to me, Paul and Bob grew up and went to school together in Orinda, California, and they've done a smashing job writing the Ewok stories. Paul also wrote a Droids episode. LFL designer Joe Johnston has written a Droid story as well, Kobe and the Star Hunters. Joe, like Ben Burt, has been with Lucasfilm a long time and thinks along similar lines as George in terms of what the Star Wars universe is like. All 3 of them like the same kinds of adventures. It sounds like a family event. It really is sort of a family affair, and it really warms my heart that these guys came up with some good story ideas. I think these guys are such incredibly multi-talented people, and it's great working with them. Other employees have come up with story ideas too. You said both series have things in common, similar goals. Could you be more specific? Each half hour will be many things. Each show will have humor in it, and every show will have a moral. We don't want to ram values at anyone, but there will be learning of basic common morals through entertainment. Like fairy tales. Fairy tales are stories that have been passed on throughout the ages from generation to generation. People can watch or listen to them over and over again and never tire of them. We're working to create that quality of a story's timelessness in both series. I hope our stories will live in children's minds after they finish watching the shows. We want both of the series to deal with real emotions. If something is scary, you're going to be really scared. If something is sad, you'll feel sadness. If it's funny, you'll really laugh. We want to deal with a wide range of real emotions and responses. Pulling together the right stories and the right people is what I call a 13-week experiment in finding the right chemistry. Of course, it's lasted much longer than 13 weeks. We started this at a meeting with George in May of 1984. That was lucky because we've had time to get things right. Other series often get their series confirmed by the networks in April and have to be on the air in September of the same year. Since you mentioned the meeting with George, could you tell us what his role has been in developing the 2 shows? George told us what he wants the shows to be, what his hopes for them are, but he hasn't written stories for it or had a day-to-day involvement in the project. As work progresses and we get rough cuts, we screen and go over them together. And as I said, there were specific assignments on things like acting, animation, writing that came from George. They are the standards he set. Something people don't seem to realize is that while indeed George Lucas is the driving force behind the Star Wars universe, there are so many people involved with so many talents and abilities, and a lot of those same people are working on this new project. They're people who are proud to be here. That reminds him of a really nice thing that happened in the Orient. The people who are working on our series are giving it special quality, and they're working so very hard because it's for George Lucas. They love him and his films, and they're very proud to be working on these shows. That's why what you'll see is better than other Saturday morning television. It's not only that we pay more for it, but because they really care. It's important to them that these shows are showcasing their work. They want to use them to say, this is the best we can do. We're doing our best because you're the best. and that's such a great feeling. It's nice to know people still feel that way. How is it different creating a series for a TV network from a feature film? Are there concerns about content? Children's television is an issue these days. Well, the network has standards and practices which come from concern for the children viewing the programs. For instance, nobody ever gets killed on Saturday morning network television. You can get stunned, but if someone is stunned and knocked down, you have to show them moaning. That's because the network feels it would be very traumatic for kids if the character doesn't recover immediately. That's for heroes. For bad guys, you can have them done in by their own evil deeds, but again, no blood. They can disappear. No human or droid with human characteristics can get killed. R2-D2 is considered a human droid, a humanoid, in that he has a personality. So he becomes a role model for the children. The network feels it would be very traumatic for our viewers if he were to be electrocuted or something. There are limits. This is a different medium, and you work within the medium. By the time the September 7th premiere date arrives, you will have put about a year and a half into these two shows. If there's something your viewers could get out of the shows, what would you like it to be? Entertainment. Good entertainment. And we want children to learn things through good entertainment. I hope that, as I've said, there will be something children can take with them after the shows are over, that they'll play Ewoks or droids, sing the songs. I hope this will be a cultural phenomenon on televisions the way Star Wars was in movie theaters. That would make me ecstatic, and it would make George very happy as well. How about the songs? Who is doing them? Taj Mahal and Stuart Copeland of The Police. Taj is doing the Ewoks theme, and Stuart's doing the same for droids. Stuart's producing an LP. It'll have both Ewoks and droids music on it. We asked them to write us songs with different themes, like a happy song, a celebration song, an on the road to adventure song, a work song, and I think we got some very good music. Terrific music. These two artists were a pleasure to work with. They're both the best. We always wondered what producers do when their work premieres. Will you be watching it on TV September 7th? I'd like to be on a tropical island. That's if my schedule would allow it, but I don't think so. We have 26 half hours and a 1 hour primetime special to complete, so if I'm here, I'll want to share that moment with my staff because we've all worked so hard, worked together. Any thoughts on the public's reaction? Well, we don't know until the 4th or 5th week if we're really a big hit, so we'll wait and keep working. It's kind of bad luck to count your Emmys and top 40 hits before it all happens, and I never do that. But I think, let's put it this way, I think we have a good shot at having a success. We couldn't agree more after viewing the first episode just back from Nelvana Limited. The animation is of the high, rich quality sought by its creators, and the characters did express the wide range of emotions desired. Those were two of the goals Herman faced. By all appearances, she met them and pushed beyond to, as she says, create something that will live in children's minds after they finish watching the shows. Ewoks and Droids, The Adventures of R2-D2 and C-3PO premieres on Saturday, September 7th on ABC. On the evening of Friday, December 13th, there will be a special presentation of droids called The Great Heat. Check your local listings. That's awesome. I cannot wait.
Coming this fall to ABC, it's those lovable creatures from the Return of the Jedi, the Ewoks. Follow them through their own thrilling adventures.
Let's give it to the big bully.
This fall, the Ewoks are coming.
This fall, there's something brewing.
Me chihuahua.
The Ewoks are coming. Then. That droid! The news is out. Droids are with us. Saturdays this fall on ABC, it's the Ewoks and Droids.
You'll love it.
What else is going on in the world of Star Wars? Oh, here's some really nice Star Wars art from fans and also some photos. And here's something from editorial. The 1985 renewal kit is waiting for your renewal. Once it's sent back, you'll receive a special members-only package. The first item is a fan club patch, which carries the Star Wars logo and the Rebel insignia. It will not be available anywhere else. A fan club sticker card comes next with peel-off Star Wars slogans including May the Force be with you. Do or do not, there is no try. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. The third renewal kit gift is really rather special. It's the first of its kind ever, a motion card containing 18 frames from Return of the Jedi. The motion card was produced using all new extra dimension Sterix process. The Sterix process involves cutting each of the 18 frames into 240 fine horizontal lines. They are then printed beside each other, all 18 frames. Added to the top of the card is a clear plastic coating that is really a series of horizontal lenses called a lenticular lens. Tilting the card from top to bottom focuses the lenticular lens on one frame at a time, so as the card moves, all 18 frames are eventually revealed. The extra dimensional Sterix process will soon be used to detail other films, but yours is the first ever. That's cool! I can't wait to get my renewal kit! Alright, that's it for Bantha Tracks issue number 29. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.